Hey film lovers, welcome to Film Reveal Decoder 2.0. Your go-to hub for all things movie recaps, from timeless classics to the latest blockbusters. Our story begins with Linda, who is spending the night at her friend Sarah's house. In front of them sits an old box filled with the belongings of Sarah's recently deceased mother. As they rummage through the box, they find a Polaroid camera, an instant camera that prints photos immediately. Curious, Sarah decides to use it to take a picture for her boyfriend so he can have the only copy. Linda picks up the camera and snaps Sarah's photo, but at the moment the picture is taken, a strange shadow appears and then vanishes just as quickly. As the night wears on, Linda decides to head home. Later, while locking her door, she hears an odd sound coming from the camera. When she picks it up, the noise stops. Confused, she looks at the photo and notices something chilling, a shadowy figure standing behind Sarah. Suddenly, the lights flicker off, and Linda senses something moving inside her house. She calls out, assuming Sarah is playing a prank on her, but then a small ball rolls out from the attic storage. Cautiously, Linda climbs the ladder to see if someone is up there. Just as she peers inside, she loses her balance and falls. Before she can react, a terrifying figure grabs her hand. Panicked, she struggles to get away and tumbles through the attic opening. Just as she's about to hit the ground, something yanks her back up, only for her to fall again, this time lifeless. The story then shifts to Bird, a high school girl with a passion for photography. She has a crush on one of her classmates and attempts to snap a picture of him from afar. Bird also works at a repair shop that specializes in vintage gadgets, which suits her love for all things old school. Her colleague, Tyler, excitedly tells her about an old camera being auctioned, and she manages to get her hands on it. Bird is thrilled. She recognizes the camera as a rare model from the 1970s, no longer in production. Examining it closely, she notices an engraving from its previous owner. To test if it still works, she takes a picture of Tyler. Later, Tyler tries to get closer to Bird, but she brushes him off and leaves. He chases after her, intending to return the camera bag, but she's already gone. Inside the bag, without Bird realizing, is Sarah's eerie photo. That evening, Bird heads home, eager to use her new camera on her dog. However, the animal reacts strangely, appearing frightened. Soon after, her friend Casey arrives, urging her to come to a costume party. Despite Bird's initial hesitation, Casey convinces her by bringing a prepared outfit, a Little Red Riding Hood costume. Meanwhile, at the repair shop, Tyler stays late to close up. While going through some old photos left by his manager, he notices something unsettling. A shadow appears in every single image. Thinking someone might be hiding behind a nearby curtain, he pulls it aside, only to find nothing there. Assuming it's just a flaw in the projector, he dismisses his unease. But then, the curtain starts rising on its own. Before he can react, an unseen force attacks him, his fate sealed in terror. At the party, Bird tries to blend in, despite feeling out of place. The host, dressed as a witch, offers her a tarot card reading. When Bird draws a card, it unsettles her. It symbolizes death. Brushing it off, she attempts to navigate the party until she notices someone in a creepy mask staring at her. As the masked figure approaches, she realizes it's her crush, Connor. They strike up a conversation, and Connor takes an interest in Bird's camera. She excitedly explains its rarity and why she cherishes it so much. Just then, Devin and his girlfriend Mina ask Connor to take a selfie with them. Bird, wanting to be helpful, offers to take the picture using her vintage camera, unaware of the sinister force lurking within it. Casey joins the group, making it 4 people in the photo. As Bird takes the picture, she notices a dark figure standing behind Connor. Uneasy, she waits for the photo to develop, but when it does, everything appears normal. Moments later, the party host, Avery, realizes they've taken a picture without her. Playfully, she snatches Bird's camera and takes a quick selfie. Before she can check the photo, someone at the door calls for her, saying the police need to speak with her. Meanwhile, Bird receives a shocking phone call. The police inform her that Tyler has been found dead at the shop. They ask if she knows anyone who might have had a grudge against him. Overcome with grief, Bird breaks down in tears as her mother picks her up from the party. Later, back in her room, Bird looks at Tyler's photo and notices something chilling. The shadow that had been in his picture has disappeared. But when she checks Avery's photo, the shadow has moved there instead. A wave of panic hits her. She considers calling Avery to warn her but hesitates and ultimately decides to sleep. That night, Avery stays up cleaning after the party. She takes everything down to the basement when she suddenly hears footsteps inside her house. Confused and uneasy, she searches for the source. After all, the party is over and no one else should be there. As she walks past a window in the dim light, she notices 2 decorative statues. But something is wrong. Now, there are 3. Before she can react, a horrifying ghost lunges toward her. Terrified, Terrified, Avery tries to flee but stumbles into a spotlight, freezing in fear. The ghost attacks viciously, and Avery meets a gruesome fate. The next morning, Bird wakes up to a call from Casey. Avery is dead. The report says she fell down the basement stairs. Horrified, Bird rushes to check the photos. As expected, the shadow has vanished from Avery's picture and moved to the group photo. This time, it stands behind Connor. Realization dawns. The camera is cursed and it's causing these deaths. Determined to stop the cycle, Bird tries to destroy the camera. But the moment she attempts it, an unseen force knocks her down, leaving the camera completely unharmed. Desperate, she heads to school to warn her friends. She gathers them and explains everything. The camera kills anyone photographed with it in order. Tyler was the first victim, then Avery, and now someone else is next. But no one believes her. Devin openly mocks her, calling the idea of a magical killer camera ridiculous. To prove her wrong, he grabs the photos and tosses them into a fire. The moment the flames reach Mina's arm in the picture, her arm bursts into flames in real life. Screaming in agony, Mina desperately tries to put out the fire, but nothing works until someone extinguishes the burning photo. Instantly, Mina's arm returns to normal, though she's left with severe burns. She is rushed to the hospital for treatment. Now convinced, the group realizes they are all in danger and must find a way to break the curse. Bird remembers that Tyler bought the camera from an online auction, but it came with nothing but a bag. The group wonders if the bag might contain something important. Determined, Bird decides to return to the shop where Tyler died and search for it. Alone, she sneaks inside and eventually finds the old camera bag. But before she can leave, she senses movement around her. Fear grips her as she tries to exit the same way she came, but she stumbles and falls. As she scrambles to her feet, she sees the shadow closing in on her. Then, she notices something strange. The shadow recoils slightly from the heat of a nearby heater. It's affected by heat. Taking mental note of this weakness, Bird grabs the bag and flees. As she escapes, the shawl wrapped around her neck gets caught on a nail. She quickly untangles herself and runs straight to Connor, who is waiting in his car. Trying to catch her breath, she asks why the ghost is after her too. Connor hesitates, then reveals the terrifying truth. The ghost appeared in their group photo because there was a window behind them. Anyone captured in the reflection is also cursed. Bird's blood runs cold. She's in just as much danger as the rest of them. Panicking, she immediately calls Devin to warn him, but his phone is in Mina's room, so Mina answers and tells her what she saw. She warns them never to be alone. As soon as Mina hangs up, the ghost appears in front of her and kills her. Devin returns to check on her and finds her strangled in front of him. It looks like a suicide. Bird and Connor arrive at the hospital and learn what happened. Devin fights with Bird, blaming her for everything happening to them, saying it's because of her camera. Bird cries and isolates herself in a quiet place. Connor comes to her and tells her it's not her fault, but she insists that she's always the cause of problems. Even her father's death was because she insisted he'd take a certain road to attend a party she wanted to go to. They had an accident on that road and he died because of her. She says that if he were alive now, he would have looked for a solution to what is happening. She decides there's no time for crying now. She rummages through the camera bag to see everything inside. She finds a paper indicating the camera was evidence in a murder case from 1974. They search the city's archives for any news of a murder reported in the newspapers in 1974. They find a report about the kidnapping and murder of 3 children by a photography teacher. The teacher's initials matched the first 3 letters engraved on the camera. The abductor was so sick that he enjoyed photographing the children as he tortured them with his camera. Bird meets her friends to share what she found out. She tells them the ghost chased her in the store, but as soon as it encountered heat, it was affected. It's like photos that are disrupted by heat and only develop in darkness. The ghost behaves the same way. Devin loses his temper and decides to destroy the camera. Connor tries to calm him down, saying this won't help. Unfortunately, they both accidentally press the shutter button, taking a photo of Devin alone. When they look at the photo, they see the shadow has left the group photo and moved to Devin's solo picture. Devin grabs the camera and threatens anyone who comes near him. He decides to photograph Bird first, blaming her for everything, but Casey grabs Devin's photo and stabs it with a pin in the hand area. Devin's hand is affected in real life, causing him to drop the camera and become angrier. The police try to calm him, but he accidentally hits an officer. He spends the night in jail alone. Bird tries to explain what is happening to the sheriff to get Devin out of jail, but of course he doesn't believe them. He dismisses the idea of a ghost living in a camera. He tells them to forget everything they said and stay away from the house where the killer lived. As soon as they leave the station, they head to the killer's house to meet his wife, who changed her name to live in the city. They go to the house and the woman allows them to talk to her. After seeing the camera, she tells them the camera didn't belong to her husband but to her daughter Rebecca. At the same time, the power goes out at the station and the ghost appears to kill Devin in his cell. The woman tells them about her daughter Rebecca, who was a very beautiful and quiet girl. She never liked leaving the house until she got the camera as a gift. She became very attached to it, taking it everywhere. She faced even more bullying at school because of the camera she always carried. One day, for children tricked her into going out with them. Years ago, a group of students got a girl drunk, took humiliating pictures of her using using her own camera and destroyed her reputation. The next day, they spread the photos around school, pushing her to the brink. She ultimately took her own life. Her father, the school's photography teacher, was devastated. Consumed by grief and rage, he sought revenge. One by one, he made the students suffer, photographing them in the same cruel way they had done to his daughter before killing them. When the police finally raided his lab at the school, they shot him. As he fell, he landed in a vat of developing chemicals, still clutching the cursed camera in his hands. A surge of electricity coursed through the liquid, electrocuting him to death. Though he managed to kill 3 of the students, 1 survived. The woman they're speaking with hands them a photo of the lone survivor. Determined to uncover the truth, they take the picture to the school archives, searching for the student's identity. What they find shocks them to the core. The 4th child is none other than the sheriff, the very man who had warned them to stay away from the killer's house. Before they can react, they realize the sheriff has been watching them. He steps out of the shadows, furious, and confronts them for trespassing at the school. Accusing them of breaking the law, he prepares to arrest them. But Connor, thinking fast, grabs the cursed camera and takes a picture of the sheriff. Suddenly, the ghost appears. It snatches the photo, glares at it, and then, in a horrifying act, tears it in half. Instantly, the sheriff's body is gruesomely split in 2, killing him on the spot. The nightmare isn't over. The ghost turns its attention to them and continues the hunt. Bird and Casey sprint into the bathroom, frantically turning on the hot water, knowing that heat weakens the ghost. For a moment, it holds the entity back, but they know it won't last long. Bird realizes she has a plan, but they need the camera. She dashes back to retrieve it from where it fell, deliberately drawing the ghost's attention to herself. She makes it chase her, luring it into the school's darkroom. Bird waits until the vengeful spirit is just inches away, ready to strike. In that final moment, she raises the camera and takes its picture. Instantly, she sets fire to the photo. As the flames consume the image, the ghost writhes in agony, burning away until it completely vanishes. The nightmare is finally over. Bird rushes back to check on Connor and Casey, relieved to find them safe. With no hesitation, she takes the cursed camera and throws it into the water, ensuring it is gone forever. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.